Welcome again to Prizefights podcast. I'm Josh, and today we're going to talk about some Floyd Mayweather news. We'll first talk about what he's been saying about Pacquiao, and then we'll talk about Mayweather versus Cotto. So this is a second podcast on Mayweather-Cotto days before the fight, and you can see our other podcast on Mayweather-Cotto, which I think was published in March. Just check out prizefights.us to get my general take on what I think will happen in the fight. I'll do that again today at the end of this podcast, but because you can't talk about Mayweather without talking about Pacquiao, and vice versa, I'm going to talk about Mayweather-Pacquiao again. I love Floyd Mayweather as a fighter. I think he's the best. I'm on record saying that I think he would beat Manny Pacquiao. I think that he would clean out, because he's a welterweight, he could go up and down and clean out 140, 147, and 154. There's nobody in those three weight classes that can beat him. I think he would beat Sergio Martinez if he came down. I think he would beat Andre Ward if he came down. Floyd Mayweather is that good. He's an adaptive, reactive fighter. He's smart. He's intelligent. He won't brawl with you. He potshots you. He boxes you. And he wins. He outpoints you. And he can knock you out. But just because I like him as a boxer doesn't mean I like him when he talks, when he's outside the ring. It seems that everything Floyd Mayweather says in interviews is always cliche. He refers to himself in second person, which is arrogant. He'll answer a question with a really broad generalization and hard work, dedication, Team Mayweather, blah, blah, blah. And he never gives you specific answers to questions. He's a boring guy to listen to. Most people call his fighting style boring. I don't think so. Even understanding what goes into that sentiment, I think it's much more of a boring interview. But every now and then, he'll say something interesting, which is usually inconsistent with what he's said previously. The recent news on Floyd Mayweather, it's on ESPN's front pages. He says that he'll never fight Pacquiao because everyone knows Pacquiao's on drugs, performance-enhancing drugs, and he wants to protect his family. Meaning, I don't want to get hurt by being in the ring with someone who has a competitive advantage. I want to be around for my family. I'm not going to fight Pacroid. And I really get upset with this because Pacquiao has passed all of his drug tests, okay? There's no evidence that Pacquiao is on drugs. Yes, he's done one or two more weight division championships, but Floyd, you've done 5 yourself. And I think you're a 7-time champion in 5 different weight classes, and you're untouchable. How do you do it? Would it be fair for Pacquiao to say, well, everybody knows that Floyd Mayweather is on dope, and I don't want to fight him? No, that's not fair. There's no evidence for your claim. So not only has Pacquiao passed off his drug tests, but what is this business about everybody knows? It seems that only you think that. Also, Manny Pacquiao, I believe, when the last Mayweather-Pacquiao negotiations were ongoing, made the concession for the Olympic-style blood testing that you required. But you pulled out of those negotiations because you wanted a guaranteed number for your purse, which, as Freddie Roach pointed out, would equate something like a 70-30 split. So Manny steps up to the table, says, I'll do the test, and then you punk out because you want more money, because you're Money Mayweather. That's the real story here. If you could limit Manny Pacquiao's purse and get the biggest one for yourself, I don't think you would be too concerned about jeopardizing your health or your family. It's also interesting that Floyd Mayweather has fought some hard-hitting guys in the past, and he did not require Olympic-style blood testing from his opponent until he fought Shane Mosley a couple years ago. I think it was 40 wins he had. So you got 40 people, 39 or 40 people that are hard-hitting professionals. Any professional can knock out another professional boxer. But you don't require this until the Manny Pacquiao negotiations are really in the media and are really on hand. And that time coincides with when he required it from Shane Mosley. I understand Shane Mosley had a past of performance-enhancing drugs, but it wasn't until Pacquiao was on everybody's mind that you started requiring blood tests above and beyond what is required by the Nevada Athletic Commission. It's also interesting, Floyd, that you say you can beat Manny Pacquiao. Everyone has asked you, can you beat the man? You say, yes, I can beat any man you put in front of me. So I don't understand, if you're the best, if you have a 42-0 record, and if you can beat anybody put in front of you, what are you so afraid of? Floyd Mayweather, you never get hit. You have the best defense in the business. Better than Pernell Whitaker. If Juan Manuel Marquez wasn't afraid of his family and of his health, and he made Pacquiao look silly in that last fight, and I think he beat him in all 3 fights, why can't you step up to the table like Juan Manuel Marquez did? Like Timothy Bradley's doing? Like Shane Mosley just did? You have fought some of these guys. Marquez is still around for his family. His health is fine. And like I said, he embarrassed Pacquiao in that fight, snapping his head back for 12 rounds, making his footwork look confused. And get this, you are much better than Marquez. Your defense is better than his. You made Marquez look silly. Marquez made Pacquiao look silly, in my opinion. He has his number. You had Marquez's number. You've had 42 people's numbers. I think you've got Pacquiao's numbers, and I think you need to quit talking about this so-called Manny Pacquiao is on steroids business. I don't believe that a man that you dominated, namely Juan Manuel Marquez, is braver than you. But that's what we're supposed to conclude if you won't step up and fight the man. And here's the biggest argument of all, the one that puzzles everybody. Floyd Money Mayweather. It's in your name. Money. That's what you live for. And yet you're turning down your biggest paycheck that some people estimate can be anywhere from $50 to $60 to $70 million if it's split 50-50. I just don't get that. I don't get that. Somebody help me on that. Oh, here's one more argument I forgot about. I mentioned that Floyd has fought some hard hitters and some tough guys, and he's embarrassed them all. And why didn't Floyd require Olympic-style drug testing from, I don't know, Ricky Hatton? Ricky Hatton was undefeated. Floyd always talks about, Pacquiao's got losses on his record. He's been knocked out. There's a blueprint on him. Well, there was no blueprint on Hatton. No one had knocked him out. He didn't have any losses or any draws. Why not require the drug test of him? Why is it only for Pacquiao that you're doing this? I don't get it. It's your biggest paycheck. You can beat him. I know it. You know it. You can still keep your pretty boy face and get a big paycheck, but you won't fight him. Instead, you tell everybody that he's on drugs and that you're protecting yourself and your family. I think it's bogus. It's absolutely bogus. Okay, let's talk about the fight that's really at hand, and that is Miguel Cotto and Floyd Mayweather. My opinion on this fight hasn't changed much since the last podcast, in which I said that Mayweather would win this fight, but the early rounds might be a struggle because Miguel's highly skilled. He's more comfortable at 154. He has a good left hook, and he can walk through a lot of hard punches. I think I want to back away from saying that Miguel's best chances are in the early rounds, because Miguel historically starts very slowly and he finishes very strongly. Miguel Cotto gets better as the rounds progress. He becomes a punisher, and so I think that Miguel Cotto will have a chance in this fight if he sticks to a specific intelligent game plan like he did against Margarito. I still think that Mayweather will figure him out, will potshot him, and will impress the judges and win a decision. But I just want to back away from saying that Miguel has good chances in the early rounds. I don't think he does. There's a guy I follow on YouTube, Richard Dwyer from GamblersAdvisory.com. Love his videos. He always makes really good takes. He's a Mayweather fan, and he has a recent video out explaining why he thinks Mayweather can knock out Miguel Cotto. And I just want to mention before we close here that that's probably the one scenario that I don't think will happen. I can see Cotto knocking out Mayweather because of the punch power, and especially at 154, but I just don't see how a guy like Miguel Cotto, who walks through a lot of hard punches, is going to be knocked out by Mayweather, who isn't known for being a knockout artist. He fought a guy that came up 2 weight classes in Juan Manuel Marquez, and that went 12 rounds, and he punished him pretty hard. I just don't see where this knockout power is going to come from, and especially how it's going to be applied to a guy who has a pretty resilient chin. Cotto was still on his feet when the referee stopped the fight in round 11, I think it was, against Pacquiao. Maybe it was 12. So he can take a beating for 10, 11, 12 rounds and still be on his feet. While I don't think that a Cotto knockout of Mayweather will happen, I think that's much more likely to happen than a Mayweather-Cotto knockout. I still think Mayweather wins this fight by decision. I am very interested in watching the fight. I don't pay for a lot of fights, but I do love Miguel Cotto. I think he's my favorite fighter because of his resume and his skills and his personality and his humanity. I just love that fighter. And if you watch the recent, I think 3 of them are out now, 24/7 Mayweather Cotto HBO episodes, I think that Cotto really endears himself to the population. He's a family man. He's a man of faith. He's a man of principle. He doesn't do a lot of smack talking. He's hard work. He's dedication, just like Mayweather is. There's a lot to like about this guy's personality. He's probably the heart favorite of many people. He's my heart favorite. My heart wants him to win, but my mind, if I were to bet on the fight, I could not bet for him because Mayweather is too good. So I want to encourage you to watch those episodes, and you'll see the comparison of a humble man with a very arrogant man in Floyd Mayweather. How much of that is business? My guess is that's who he is in the family room watching TV. I just don't like Mayweather as a person. I don't like him in interviews, but I like him in the boxing ring, and I'm still picking Mayweather over Cotto on May 5th, Saturday, on HBO pay-per-view. Las Vegas, Nevada, MGM Grand. Should be a great fight, entertaining fight, and that's all for now. Thanks for tuning in to Prizefights podcast. Check us out on prizefights.us.